All right, let's talk Jollibee's 2025 results. If there's one story to tell this year, it's all about explosive global growth. We're going to dive into the numbers, see how they're pulling it off, and figure out what this means for their big plans for the future.
Okay, let's get right to the bottom line. The big headline for 2025, Jollibee delivered some seriously robust top-line growth. And you know what's driving it? One thing, really. Their hugely successful global expansion strategy.
And here's the number that really tells the story: 14.3% year-to-date revenue growth. I mean, wow, that's not just a little bump. This is the direct result of that aggressive, strategic push into international markets we were just talking about. It's really paying off.
So you see a number like that, and you've got to ask, where exactly is all this growth coming from? Because a big number is great, but what we really want to understand is the engine behind it, right? So let's unpack this a bit.
And this right here, this chart, really shows a fundamental shift in who Jollibee is. In 2025, their international business became a much bigger piece of the pie. We're talking almost 42% of total global revenues. This tells you they're not just a Filipino company with some stores overseas anymore. No, they are becoming a truly global brand.
Now, what's really interesting is that this isn't just a blip on the radar. Look at the trend here. The international segment's contribution grew by 2.5 percentage points in a single year. That's huge. It proves the global strategy isn't just working, it's actually picking up speed. Okay, so revenue growth is fantastic. We love to see it. But that's only half the story, isn't it? You've got to manage profitability, especially when you're dealing with all these global economic headwinds. Inflation, crazy supply chain costs. That's just as crucial. So how did they do?
This slide really illustrates that classic push and pull, right? On one hand, you've got the challenge, global cost pressures. You can see the gross profit margin took a small hit, contracting by about 0.6 percentage points, mainly from rising commodity and freight costs. But then you look at their response, really disciplined control over operating expenses. They actually improved that metric by 0.9 percentage points. So they tightened their belts internally, and it more than made up for those external pressures. Pretty impressive. And this kind of operational strength is super clear and super important when we zoom in on the international business. I mean, this is where all the big growth is happening, so it's absolutely critical to see that they're managing it effectively.
Which, of course, brings us to the million-dollar question, or maybe the billion-dollar question. Is this international expansion actually profitable yet? It's what every investor wants to know, and transparency here is key. So let's just get right into the numbers. Okay, so here's the deal. Look at that top line, operating income. The international business's contribution to operating profit grew substantially. I mean, it jumped from 12.7% to 19.0%. That's a more than 6 percentage point increase. This shows you that the stores themselves, the day-to-day operations, are healthy. Now, you'll see the net income is still in the red, and that's because of ongoing investment costs for all this expansion. But the core business, it's performing really well and heading exactly where it needs to. So when you put it all together, this 2025 performance, this balance of aggressive growth with really disciplined management, it's not just a good year. This is the foundation. This is the proof that their huge long-term goals are actually achievable.
And that really brings us to the key takeaway. They are on track to hit their 2028 ambitions, which include tripling their net income. The company heads into the future with full confidence. So really, the 2025 results validate the whole strategy. The growth engine is absolutely firing, and it's why they can confidently stand by these ambitious goals. At this point, the question isn't if Jollibee can become a global powerhouse. It's just how fast.